Welcome back to the Stache Club Wrestling Podcast, folks. What we say, 158. Welcome, folks. Happy Thanksgiving. Or post-Thanksgiving. Hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving. And we have a lot to talk about today, Jimmy. We are coming off a controversial Survivor Series WarGames. We're coming off of what I thought was not that controversial of a Raw. Apparently, I'm wrong. We have a lot to go over. We're going over all of it today. But before we get to some housekeeping stuff, I do want to say a big thank you to people who've been tuning into the streams as of late. Had a stream on this channel for Survivor Series. Had a ton of heads in there. You were popping in the chat. It was a ton of fun. And then I had a stream last night on Raw. But I imagine what you're itching to get to. We do have a little bit of news. I guess I'll just present it to you, and then I'll let you kind of have the floor. This past Saturday, we did have the SCW Predictions Championship on the line. I was defending it and came very close. Came down to the wire. Came down to the final match, and I did end up losing the SCW Predictions Championship. So, Jimmy, you are the new SCW Predictions Championship. Congratulations. And you have a speech prepared?
God, no, I don't have a speech prepared.
Okay.
This is my overall thoughts
Okay.
of WarGames, but
Okay.
I will do a little bit of gloating. I will do a little bit of hot dog and grandstanding, that is. God, this is the winter Jimmy from the Q, isn't it? I mean, God, I'm at Stache Club Wrestling. I mean, that's already a blessing. What a miracle that is. But now, I got one belt. The Predictions Championship, one of the most prestigious, long-running YouTube titles of all time.
Huge.
Currently the quiz champion, and I would say I'm a
true.
long-reigning champ currently, but as of yesterday, Paul Burchill did have this for
That's true.
30 seconds.
Lineage got reset.
But still now the current champ. Of course, the Jimmy Continental champion. Which
Right, one of those kind of seemed like the three-headed dragons. One of them seems little, you know what I mean?
defended only against gyms, so any other gyms out there. But I'm the greatest champion of all time. Triple crown, triple chip
a
gym.
lot.
And then my favorites, Jade Cargill. Oh, wait, it's getting hot in here.
No way!
Wow, new
Oh,
shirt.
hell yeah.
New shirt. Do we still have a Fanatics link?
Yeah.
I'm an idiot. I did not use it. Don't be like Jimmy. Use our Fanatics links for any future Christmas merch you might buy, like this beautiful Jade Cargill
great plug.
shirt.
That rocks. You're
Bro-
going to keep the sticker on?
I kind of like that. It's kind of like
Yeah, no, that's
the
what I'm
lids. The
saying.
lids
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
a little sticker thing.
Nice.
New fresh shirt.
Cool. I like that a lot. That's sick.
Thank you. Thank
rocks.
you. Bron Breakker wins WarGames. LA Knight beat Jey Uso. So Jimmy from the Q and everyone revolving around Jimmy from the Q is winning. We're eating. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, there's a lot to go over, but that Predictions Championship, let me not forget, depending on what the Saturday's Main Event card is looking like, we'll be defended there. Or if we don't defend it at Saturday's Main Event, we'll be on the line at World's End for AEW, because we don't have another pay-per-view until like February 1st or the end of whatever it is. That's the Royal Rumble. So, but a lot going on here on the channel. It's a lot of hardware you got over there, I'll tell you that.
It's hard being Jimmy too at the same time. I gotta lug this to the airport. I gotta lug this to all the fine mamacitas I see. They're like, Jimmy, we don't want to see you without the belts. I'm like, I guess I'll bring the
take
belts.
a picture with it? Yeah, I get it. Well, yeah, like you were alluding to, a lot of stuff happened. But some quick plugs and information before we get to the real meat and potatoes of the show. Folks, we have patreon.com/Stache Club Wrestling to hear a bonus weekly pod episode every single week. We answer your questions over there and kind of talk about whatever is top of mind. It's a good time over there. Like Jimmy alluded to, we also have a Fanatics link in the description, so which was a great plug if you want to get something for Christmas or whatever. If you use our link, it helps out the show just a little bit, and we appreciate it. And then we also have our own merch still available in the description. There's beanies left and maybe a t-shirt or two and hats. All right.
Stickers.
Yeah, I'm sure they're still there. I haven't checked that website, to be honest with you, in a little bit. Okay. Down to the nitty gritty. We're gonna go pretty chronologically here. Obviously, Thanksgiving festivities kind of threw a lot of stuff off. So we'll bounce back and forth. Like, admittedly, I haven't been as tuned into some AEW shows this week. I didn't watch SmackDown, which is like obviously pre-recorded anyway, so we know what happens. So we'll still cover everything. Continental Classic is going crazy, I hear. But we'll get to the meat and potatoes. I think it's one of the titles of this video, I think. Survivor Series. Was it that bad? People are hating on it. So I think we're gonna I want to just hear general thoughts, and then we're gonna get down to each match, because there are a lot of things to talk about per match. But As an overall, without maybe getting into like too many specifics, Survivor Series, was it that bad? A lot of people didn't like it. A lot of people are defending it. I'm curious where you are. I'm curious where I am. And this feels like it's going to be a bulk of the episode. But Survivor Series, was it that bad? What are you giving it? What are you giving it overall? What are your thoughts?
Scared to share my opinion on this one, man. I am. But it's a positive one. So it's kind of funny that I'm scared to share a positive opinion. But immediately after the show ended, I threw out like a B+, which then, got some ridicule on that. I settled down. I kind of looked at the 4 matches, which again, that's kind of an issue too with only 4 matches. But the 4 matches did average like a B- rating on the old Jimmy from the Q scale. So maybe an average pay-per-view, right around that level of 3.5 stars out of 5 for the entire show. The entire show also had a lot going for it. The atmosphere was fantastic. The video packages, huge stars, some big moments. I think I was higher than most on Dom vs. John 2. Steph and Nikki had a match. The women's WarGames, of course, I think stole the show. Men's, I think, will be a very interesting thing to talk about today on the show. Always kind of, I came in. The thing is why I think I kind of walked away with really liking the pay-per-view was I came into the show with low expectations. And that was probably because of my issues with the 2 WarGames matches, which are the meat and potatoes of this pay-per-view, not having stakes, kind of being, in some ways feeling like it was thrown together. But at the end of the day, the bell rang. And of course, another issue of like the WarGames, in my opinion, which we talked about it to a larger extent, is, the match doesn't start until 45 minutes. But, but great presentation, phenomenal vibes. I had a good time, but as many people had apparently the worst day of their lives watching this show for some reason.
Yeah, I'm like so meh on the show. Like I'm seeing people are calling it the worst show of the year. That's not true. People are calling it like one of the best. I don't think that's true either, in my opinion. I just think it was. I don't even know if the word inoffensive is appropriate, but like it was just kind of just like. I think if it was a B show, the word inoffensive would be fine. It's like, it just happened, whatever. I think my biggest problem, and a lot of people's biggest problem, is that this was Survivor Series. It was a big 4. And like I said, we'll kind of get more in specific, especially with like the masked man stuff and whatever. But I started out hot. I enjoyed the women's WarGames as an opener. I did kind of like it less toward the end of the show, kind of seeing what the whole show was. But yeah, Women's WarGames I thought was a solid start. And then we led into Cena Dom, which I thought rocked. I really love Cena Dom. And then Stephanie and Nikki had a really tough spot following that, and then coming before the Men's WarGames. And like you said, we'll talk about more about Men's WarGames in depth.
Sort of speaking on memes, you brought up the 3-headed dragon. You ever see the horse that's half drawn?
Oh, yeah,
The show kind of started off like real hot, and then the end of it kind of, a little bit but.
Yeah, well, I guess might as well we'll get right into the nitty gritty of it. We'll start off with the Women's WarGames match. I got some notes here. First of all, like I said, I think also a grain of salt too is I was on stream, so my enjoyment of the night is gonna automatically be a little bit more bumped up because we're chatting to people and having fun and blah blah blah. I just thinking about it again in the context of like because I did pay $30 for it. And if I was just sitting here alone in my living room, like I feel like I'd enjoy it less. My question to you is also going to be, here's like, I did expect you to come in with that same 8.7 out of 10 overall. My question to you, and I don't want you to answer this verbally or physically, but because, but did you pay $30 for it? Like I said, don't answer because I don't want to know. But I think a large part of it is like, the price point of like paying $30 for this big 4 PLE, and I think that's a lot of people's takeaway as well. But
like you mentioned, I was in your stream. I had a good time in your stream.
Right, it was a fun time.
The Stache Club stream because you're on Stache Club.
Sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, Women's WarGames match. I thought it was a hot start. I think the biggest takeaway here is, and I think you agree with this, Lash Legend, dude, felt like a star. I didn't expect her to be the anchor. Came out as the anchor, was real, just like, tossing people around. I thought that was huge. Overall match, I think was, just okay. We obviously got some, stuff with like, Rhea and Charlotte and people like, can they coexist sort of stuff. AJ Lee doing some spots. Controversial spot, which I don't know if we want to get to it yet. I don't want to skip over it. You have like some Lash Legend or other stuff to get to. But I do want to talk about the EO spot. But I don't want to jump ahead if you have other stuff before that.
On the topic of Lash Legend, yeah, this is. I mean, for me, this women's War Games match was my match of the week. A little maybe spoilers for later.
Interesting.
This was such a good match. I really enjoyed it. And then yeah, I mean, if you can kind of walk away from Survivor Series with accepting that Lash Legend was made in this match, and this is her first main roster match too. The slow plodding, kind of bouncing to the ring with her entrance. No reaction from the crowd, but that is to be expected when you're a brand new superstar. Yeah. I guarantee you, fast forward 1 year from now and she's in a War Games match, that crowd won't be silent for her next entrance, let me tell you.
People were hating on the theme song, which I heard it and I don't know. And I don't know. It's funny to say this on like a wrestling podcast where we do nitpick everything, but like it was just funny to me, like, instantly people are like, that song sucks. And I'm like, I didn't even pay attention to, like, everyone's paying attention to everything. You know what I mean? Everything is like, you know?
I was so focused on Lash Legend's absolute aura and just her vibe that she brought to the ring. And then when she got into the ring, the action, her and Rhea, the Rhea doing the kind of Art the Clown wave, or her Lash no-selling it. She's an anomaly.
I mean, that's a great note too. I did not put down Rhea looking so sick in the Terrifier mask, dude. But yeah, Io Sky spot. In the moment, I loved it. I'm a sucker for the trash can spot. I loved that it was a swanton and like she kicked the legs out. I thought it was sick. Upon, a little bit of a rewatch and hey, listen, the Io Sky guy here about to critique. Whoa. I still like it, but I do see and also pretty much agree with people's criticisms of the classic like WWE or just wrestling in general, like the heels getting up and then crowding around to catch her. She did take about 5 minutes to like which I'm not mad at that, because part of wrestling is the showboating and the anticipation. So I'm not that mad at like the time it took for Io to do it. I just think it would have been better if like the faces, they started, beating up the heels. Like that's all they needed to do was the faces needed to like start punching the heels and like get them in a group and then do the jump, But instead the heels, without anything, all just woke up and crowded in the middle of the catcher.
No, John, we needed the AJ Lee "I'm too short" comedy spot first.
And I didn't even dislike that. I like that. Her like, and then like Rhea Ripley picking her up on her shoulders. I thought that was all good and fine. But I think that even goes to more the fact of like that's more time taken for heels to like, But like, I don't know. I'm kind of going back and forth of like, because in the moment I loved it. I even tweeted, and I still love that spot. I still think it was a cool spot. And I'm kind of just like wrestling with the fact of like, am I letting the internet like make me dislike something, or am I actually just rewatching something and being appropriately critical of something? You know what I mean? I can't really tell, but I think it's fair to bring up that spot, that criticism of it.
Oh, for sure. But it's to me though, I totally agree with like psychological stuff and a lot of this stuff in wrestling in general, but also these War Games matches. You kind of look at it and you kind of scratch your head and go, huh?
Sure.
But the absurdity of Io Sky and the height, and then even too with like what was it? Well, Io came out with the lid.
Yeah.
And then eventually took all the way from Mommy's entrance for Mommy to come out with the Io Sky trash can. All of it was just, a spectacle. And I just, I do hear those criticisms, but at the same time, for these particular War Games matches, I do shut off my brain quite a bit and just kind of enjoy the theatrics. Charlotte Flair's gear was phenomenal. Her gear was dedicated to, I believe, a young child that has a brain tumor or whatever. All-time Nia Jax gear, which I think was for the Padres CD Connect. She looked phenomenal. Some really cool.
I liked it too.
Which actually, on the topic of Charlotte Flair, her outfit last night, I mean, I'm not sure if there's a Stache award for outfit of the year or just best dress of the year. She would be the front runner. But like for
the full Canadian tuxedo down to the denim boots, I like it.
Right. Well,
I think that's a good. I meant to say this at the beginning of the episode. We do have the Stache awards coming up soon, so everyone's homework for this episode, and I'll let you continue. But everyone's homework for this episode, leave in the comments some categories you want to see, and also nominees you want to make sure that you want to see are made sure whatever, that didn't make sense, but are there. Yeah, I'm excited for the stashes this year. I think it's gonna be sick. But anyway, yeah, sorry.
And I will say for like the WarGames matches specifically, like the way they were sort of laid out, I loved the starting out with Charlotte and Asuka, who have so much history, and I would love to see more one-on-one matches with them. And then out came, I think after was Charlotte. And no, sorry, not Charlotte. Alexa, which then kind of reminded me too of like I seen this thing from I think Charlotte was doing an interview where Charlotte said Alexa Bliss in this partnership was more important for her and kind of a bigger deal than winning the Rumble for her, which is like not a crazy thing to say considering how much this tag team has done for her and like possibly made her one of the biggest baby faces in the company and successfully too, which has always been a difficult thing for Charlotte to do. And then Io Sky. The Io lid, I already brought that up. And then Becky with the kendo stick. I love all the women coming out with their own weapons.
I liked it too. Kyrie with the chain. Yeah, I enjoyed that
the triple
too.
choke spot, triple platinum in my house. I thought that was crazy.
I like that.
The chain fist, some stiff shots from these women. I think Asuka hit Io with a crazy drop kick at one point that really had my jaw dropping. AJ Lee's second match in a decade, I think, is kind of being overlooked a bit. I mean, this is
it's crazy that her second match in a decade is a WarGames match. And like people are kind of like, she didn't do much in that match. You're right, she didn't. It was her second match back, and it's a WarGames match. Like, I think there is, and I think we'll talk a lot more about this too, or maybe we can talk about it now. When we get to the men's WarGames, but I think. Maybe we just talk. I'll just say it till the end because it's kind of a bigger discussion on all of WarGames. But yeah, that's kind of all. I thought it was fine. I didn't love it, to be honest with you. I liked it in the moment, and again, kind of like looking back on it, or like once the rest of the show was finished, I was like, eh. I thought it was probably the weakest women's WarGames match they've done on the main roster, and that's the reason for that is like the rest of them I thought had been bangers. Since it was kind of just like it's like meh to me, but.
I really liked the Flair saving Rhea from the mist. I thought that was really good storytelling.
Sure.
Io and Rhea are the modern day Batista and Ray.
They're so good.
As you say, roommates.
I know.
And once those roommates have a falling out, it's gonna feed generations. It really will. I guess Rhea and Flair are also DX now. They're doing the suck it again in this match. And then both. We kind of both clocked the predictions on this of Becky being the one that tapped out. I thought that was it made the most sense, but
and
also
instantly go on Twitter just like that ref screwed me and Jessica Carr and I didn't tap and da-da-da.
Did you see her vlog? She had a phenomenal
vlog.
I liked
it. I thought it was
so
cool.
funny and like. Not a big fan of our president, but the fact that he's like a very funny guy, if you take away a lot of the things, and Becky's taking a lot of like stuff from him and doing it in like a very charming Irish kind of like sociopathic way, and it's like just.
Well, that's why I think it's like I think it's a satire take on. Like,
for sure.
It's definitely not a like I'm doing this because I love him. I think it's like a. It's because like see how goofy it is.
I'm deranged.
Yeah, right.
And like the nicknames too, like it's so funny. This match to me, I gave it like 4.5 stars on the old Jimmy from the Q scale. I really enjoyed this match, and I thought, wow, we're starting off hot. I was loving the stream, and I'm now very curious of where we're going from here. But the main event of Raw really kind of dignified that the women's division, and I got to say this, in all of 2025, the women have held down the World Wrestling Entertainment
not
to
even
a
close.
Phenomenal degree.
Yeah, it's been crazy. Yeah, we're definitely going to talk a lot about the closing of Raw, but I do want to move on to Dominic Mysterio versus John Cena for the IC title. This match was a lot of fun. Obviously, just a shenanigans filled, whatever. But I really enjoyed it. Obviously, a couple of big moments here. One, which I think I can speak for both of us, they got our asses with the. I thought you were grabbing something.
No props.
I was grabbing my prop.
I'm sorry.
I was like, what now? I thought it was going to be like shoulder tape or something. But Dom hitting the Rana, going too low on the outside, injuring his shoulder. Very similar to how Penta injured his shoulder, which like everything about this I thought was good. First of all, Dom's acting was phenomenal. Like even just like the close-ups and him going, to the ref of just like realistic, like, no, and just like, I don't know, things that you would hear when a wrestler actually gets injured. Cena going back in the ring. And the fact that they played on like Penta's actual injury and did this, and they're like, oh, well, people are going to believe this because Penta got injured the same way a couple weeks ago, shoulder. I think that worked out perfectly. And then obviously then you had Raquel and Roxanne get involved. You had a which is the I think the biggest news of the entire night. Well, not the biggest news of the entire night, maybe. Liv Morgan returning. I didn't see this coming at all. Her pants were super sick, designed by shout out It's Aslan with 2 N's. It's Aslan on Twitter. Super sick pants, and I loved slap of Dominic, which that's a lot of storytelling we gotta get into. Slap of Dominic hugging John, and the perfect callback to John Cena turning on Cody with the hug, the face turn. She looks like a psycho. The kick to the balls is just perfect. Like that's how Cena turned heel, and then helping Dom get the win. Dom gets that IC title back. I thought everything about this was really good. Yes, shenanigans filled. Yes, it took 6 people to beat John Cena, but it's John Cena, and it makes sense. Dom has the IC title back. Cena is going to his last match. You know, I was kind of wondering if he'd have it or not going to his last match. The whole time he didn't need it going to his last match. I was kind of curious if that'd be the case or not. And then, and then we got some stuff on Raw and some chitter chatter. But yeah, really, I thought everything about this, I thought was very, very cool. And then, solid in ring from these two in general. IMO.
I totally agree, man. Big match, John. And I feel like a lot of people are actually, not a lot of people, but there's some people that thought this match was very lackluster, which,
wow.
I think for me, what really put this match over the top, and, right when it happened, I got worked, hook, line, and absolute stinker. I'm still being worked. I'm still convinced Dom really got hurt. All that stuff was on the fly. Yeah. It's probably not the case, but, I lost my marbles when I thought Dom was legitimately injured.
Dude, I was so scared. Yeah,
I was screaming at my TV Triple H, send someone down there and have a match. This is John Cena's last PLE match. I had so much anxiety. I feel bad for Dom. I feel bad for John. The girls out there too. Everyone involved. I was panicking. I got worked.
Oh, I was instantly good for Raquel and Roxanne and John, doing something on the fly. Yeah, I was like,
all that felt on the fly. So when that happened, that's kind of early in the match. All that happens the rest of the match, I'm hooked, line, and sinker. I'm like a 10-year-old kid again, thinking oh my God, how is Dom still doing this? Or also too in the same aspect, dirty Dom, you fooled me, you mother lover. It was really good. It really brought me back to watching this stuff as a kid again. Puts over massively Raquel Rodriguez, who will be a world champion next year. Mark my words. Big Tejada bomb. Roxanne Perez, a pop rocks. That's a huge moment for her. Yeah. Looked great too. And then even too, when you had Finn and JD, get their ass kicked, I guess. But a double AA at Survivor Series in the year 2025. Yes, please.
Shout out Edge. Shout out Big Show.
Shout out Edge. Shout out Big Show. This meant the world to me, man. I was hooked. A lot of John Cena funness. The ref bump, dude. Man, Liv Morgan comes back. That's unreal. And then my big ass Mark brain going back to Hogan heel turn. Whose side is she on the whole time? Because I'm wait a second. Liv Morgan's back, but on TV, we've been kind of seeing. This is kind of a long time ago, and I feel like they really dropped this kind of angle to the angle of Roxanne swooning over Dom.
Yeah.
So I sort of was expecting maybe the slap to Dom sticking and not being just what Liv Morgan's decision is. But no, it played did the classic John Cena callback. Almost better than John, I'll say. She looked insane.
Yeah.
And then Nutshot City and then a cheap win for Dirty Dom, but this was great. I can kind of think, stepping back, would I have maybe wanted John to do something else for his last PLE match? Maybe, but then I do circle back to our special moment in Boston where we had John. And if we got that, and then this is what we have to deal with because we got that, I'm totally fine with. This was great. I was very high on it. I gave it four stars out of 5. And I think a lot of people else, maybe not had loved the shenanigans, but I truly enjoyed it. I love all the people involved in this. Wow.
we'll kind of lead that into what happened on Raw as well. Liv seemingly, obviously Liv is back, seemingly at this point leading the Judgment Day, fully taking the reins. She had the stick. She was out front, and I'm hoping, because you're right, they did drop Roxanne flirting with Dom pretty quickly, even before Liv came back. They kind of dropped all that stuff. I think this is just step one. Liv came back crazier than ever. She's off her rocker more than ever, I think.
Yeah, she slapped Dom in that promo last night too, right?
So she slapped Dom again in the promo. Before that, she was even or maybe after that, she was like, "There's a problem with Judgment Day. Judgment Day is weak. Nobody has goal except for Dom." So she's like everybody's weak. That kind of played into the main event where like she got Raquel and Roxanne involved. But I'm curious if we're gonna down the line. What we're gonna talk about how the main event ended, but like Roxanne was holding the tag title, gave it back to Liv, and then Liv like no, you take it. So I think there is gonna still be some sort of like Liv snapping on Roxy.
I think Liv has bigger fish to fry
than
the tag team titles.
Oh, well, that too, yeah, because there was a moment with her and Stephanie Vaquer. And then the slap to Dom I think is very interesting because. At first, it just kind of seems like a little kinky bedroom play.
Right.
But how I read it after that was Liv slapped Dom, and Dom seemed kind of like, he wasn't like, oh, hell yeah. He got slapped by her and then like hugged by her in this Raw segment. He was a little taken aback. So I'm thinking it's something like Liv is holding her cards and playing into this, and like she's still like, slapping him and giving him like a fuck you, but like, no, I'm just kidding, I love you, that's just me being da-da-da. So I think either like that pent up anger is gonna lead to something that she's like being maniacal about, or it just is leading into her coming back crazier than ever. The fact that she's now even in like, Dom loves it when I slap him sort of thing. It's one of the two. I'm very curious how that develops, but
it's a bit of an over-aggressive lover situation. I actually, I love that point you brought up, but also the first point you brought up, I kind of disagree with. I don't think Liv is the leader of the Judgment Day. I was looking last night, and Dom is the one that brought out Liv, and Dom's aura is starting to give me like late '90s rock vibes. I know he's kind of dressed a little bit like the cow leather stuff, whatever, and kind of gives off that kind of cool vibe. Dom is so elevated from this John Cena little skirmish and being a 2-time Intercontinental Champion. I think Dom is actually the leader of the Judgment Day, and maybe like you said, maybe those slaps will add up, and Dom will then have to reinsert himself and be like, hey, I'm actually daddy. I'm actually on top here. I'm actually leading the Judgment Day. And then maybe we'll see the rest of the Judgment Day just kind of looking on and being like, this is kind of getting toxic, huh?
See, I don't know. I see what you're saying, because he is the most decorated. He would be the obvious de facto leader, but like he wasn't. He did get on the mic, but he wasn't leading that charge. Like Liv's the one that came in and be like, hey, we're weak. You know what I mean? I think ultimately what I mean is like, I don't think there is like, and this is kind of goes back to like Finn and Dom butting heads, then not butting heads, then butting heads, then not butting heads. They're kind of like always a power struggle for a leader. I don't think there's officially a leader,
right?
But I think it's Liv taking the reins. And
or trying to, for sure.
Dom, well, I would say pretty successfully, because she's the one that got on the mic and was just like, hey, like, let's whip you guys into shape. She closed the show with, And
I would have liked her to kind of, address more of what happened since she's been gone.
I agree.
She kind of just said like, oh, the Judgment Day hasn't fallen off a little bit. Well, then dive deeper into that, Liv, and then you dive deeper into your thoughts about that. But I guess, it's more so wanting us to find out more as we go on type thing. But
in that moment, I really thought we were getting that, like, her turning to Roxanne and being like, so you, and like it didn't. She kept on like walking close to her. Again, I think this is gonna be still a developing story. But I'm into it. I'm into Judgment Day's got me. I'm always very either hot or cold on Judgment Day, and now I'm very very interested for sure. Okay, let's go to. I don't have much to say about this, admittedly, but we'll go to Stephanie Vaquer versus Nikki Bella. Stephanie Vaquer retained the title. A solid retain over a veteran, over a legend. Like I said earlier, they got put in a very tough spot off of, coming after the Dom and Cena match with the Liv return, and then the anticipation for the men's WarGames match. I think they worked solid. Like I said, I don't have too much to say. Devil's Kiss on the announce table is pretty solid. Yeah, it's kind of, I don't know. I don't have much to say.
I gave it 2.25 stars. I've been a little bit tougher on Nikki Bella, nickname her the Lingerer, all that stuff. I thought this was her best match since she's been back.
Sure, I agree with that.
I think she works a lot better as a heel. The big takeaway from this match and what kind of went viral was the second Devil's Kiss, where Nikki did not get her knees up, and Stephanie kind of did look frustrated quite a bit. I thought it was decent. I'll give Nikki credit. The jaw-dropping corkscrew moonsault was
so good, dude. So money.
All-time Devil's Kiss on the announce table, like you mentioned. Michael Cole was geeking. I thought that was hilarious. Rough matchment placement. I feel bad for where they were. They were for sure in the death spot. You think John would be kind of chivalrous and kind of give Nikki, her former fiance, maybe go before him, so she didn't have to face that death spot. But also too, given again they were actually fiancés, but they did have an on-screen WWE relationship that was a big part of WrestleMania, and no callbacks to Nikki Bella at all for John Cena in the last year.
I mean, I just think it's too messy of real life stuff. You know what I mean?
But it's crazy that they're all back at the same time, back to back.
Yeah,
matches,
for sure.
But given, I'm sure all parties, maybe even parties that are not involved, were probably against it. So that's
just
fair.
Feels a little bit. Yeah.
Even if he did the little Nikki Bella dance, I think I would just kind of mark out a little bit.
I'm into it. I'm not saying I'm not into it.
But Stephanie, great world champion. I think a very solid defense for her.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's move on to the men's WarGames match, baby. Lot to talk about here. I put this, and it's shocking to me. I think the women have kicked the men's ass in the past X amount of years since WWE started doing it on the main roster. To me, I think the men got this slightly over the women, in my opinion. I thought it was just a little bit more entertaining. Ultimately, I thought both WarGames matches, for what WarGames matches are, I thought were both pretty lackluster. But we're going to talk about that in a whole kind of after this match. But like I said, even with that said, I think overall it was just meh. But I think you'll probably go over more of the participants coming in, like you did with the women. But a lot of good matchups here. I liked the order. I think one of the big things is people are mad at Brock which controversial, because he left the cage, and one of the rules is if you leave the cage, it's a loss. But the match didn't technically start yet, which I guess is sure, I guess. It
did create a cool stare down between him and Roman visually, but then Roman just kind of walks down and just eats him with a punch. It's like, Brock, you didn't see that punch coming from?
Yeah.
But it was just about getting that visual moment.
I'll let you kind of take it away, because things I want to pause at. I want to pause at Jey Uso. I want to pause at Masked Man, and then we'll kind of talk about Braun. But if you have stuff leading up to that,
okay,
go ahead.
The WarGames match at this point is a lot like Thanksgiving turkey. It's served at the November holiday. It's serviceable, what we expect. At the end of the day, though, it's played out, I think. It takes too long. It's a bit dry unless you have someone really cooking.
Jey Uso's the cranberry sauce.
That's a great point. Also, too, if you fry the turkey, it's better. If you have someone that knows what they're doing in the kitchen cooking, the WarGames, the turkey can be a lot better. If you have a turducken, perchance, it could be a lot better. And I'm open to change. Maybe this could be the last WarGames match we see in a little bit. But my issue was the no stakes, and these men all were plucked together and just kind of thrown at the wall. But I will say, Monday Night Raw last night, it seems that Bron Breakker earned a title shot from this. So kudos to, maybe that was kind of a FU to everyone that was kind of crying about stakes, because Braun is the number one contender for the World Heavyweight Championship.
Which, I love. That match is going to take place, what was it, January 5th?
Yep.
I love that. I do just think it, I don't love, and this is more of a wrestling trope maybe in general, but it was a WarGames match. It was 5v5, and I get it, it's a heel thing. Paul's touting it as a heel thing, but it worked, where Paul was like, oh, Bron Breakker pinned the world champion, he should be the number one contender. To me, it's yes, he did, but it was a 5-on-5 WarGames match.
And the Masked Man was the real deciding factor.
And the Masked Man did it, and the other four men were also beating up. It's not it wasn't I don't think, which, for the sake, I'm not trying to complain just for the sake of complaining, for the sake of us getting Bron Breakker in a world title match, it all works out and it's all fine.
Yeah.
But it was a little, to me, it felt a little shoehorned of just that's the reason that Bron Breakker got a number one contender's spot.
Or what's the thought process of not announcing that stipulation beforehand? I mean, would that make the men's too obvious winners?
Everyone's also, no, let me pin him.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that could have created the match being kind of even more interesting in some aspects, but maybe more too predictable about who which team might win.
And then wouldn't that lead to maybe Paul Heyman last night was shout out Drew, good working with you. But if I was Drew, I'd be pretty pissed of I didn't know the person that pins the last guy gets a title. When the fuck did that become a thing? You know what I mean? But like I said,
maybe it's
works.
more so Paul Heyman's ties and what have you.
That's what I mean. It all works. It's heel stuff. But a little bit to me is I guess so. But yeah, go ahead.
Huge win for my favorite wrestler. And then, of course, the winning of the SAW predictions title probably heightened my excitement towards the end. But overall, this match is really good. I love the starting of Punk and Breakker. I mean, that's like, again, that match at January 5th is going to be amazing. And I think a rivalry that they'll hit. Next out comes Drew, who has extensive history with Punk, and it really capitalized on that 2-1 advantage. And I love that both teams that won WarGames had the advantage. Kind of bodes the fact that that's really important to have in this match.
I like that.
So that's huge too. Kind of weird they got rid of the cages. I mean, are they trying to avoid Brock behind bars or something?
Well, a couple things before we get to that. One, we got Punk and Codester getting a little color, huh?
Yeah,
a little bit of ketchup packets on there. One thing I really liked too was Cody came in, was wrecking house, and then Punk came up behind him, gave him a fucking elbow. Woo! Yeah, that was crazy.
Well, they didn't really play off that afterwards.
Not at all. Yeah. No, it just kind of happened. I think they might have had like a little bit of like a, hey, what the hell? And like that was it. Punk got a little bloody. Cody got a little bloody. Blood dried up pretty quick. It wasn't anything too crazy.
And if Punk and Cody were a tag team, you know what their tag team name would be?
What do we got?
The Marks, because they get in there, they do the heart attack, which is word to Jim the Anvil and Bret Hart, and then they do a Doomsday, which almost breaks Bron Breakker's neck.
That shit was crazy.
I'm not sure who to fault.
People were looking concerned for a while. It was scary for a little bit.
That is such a dangerous move to take, and if it's not done well, the result of what happens, and he legitimately could have been paralyzed. It was very scary. I'm sitting here at a desk being a podcaster, but like I do kind of look at like, okay, who's to blame there a bit, and who's owed a receipt perhaps, because that's a move that those two guys definitely wanted to do, and whether it was Cody kind of not pushing hard enough, because again, you're at such a defensive position at that point. If you're Breakker, you're really trusting the guys you're working with. And Cody, either if he didn't push enough, or I kind of looked at it back. Punk kind of barely punches him when he takes the leap off the turnbuckle. So tighten up, guys. If you have a receipt from Bron Breakker, watch out. But thank God he's okay at the end of the day.
But yeah, shark cages. I don't know. I see everyone's. This is kind of another instance from me. It's like I don't really care. I fully see and even agree with people's like criticism where like I like the shark cages for the fact of you get more storytelling in them. Like we got a lot of storytelling in the years prior with like Roman being the shark cages and like during the Bloodline one with like Sammy and like him calling the shots who's going out. The year prior getting like CM Punk, the camera cutting. Which, like, again, I do agree it adds to story. I do think the large region thing, I think you were saying, is that it's just so Brock doesn't have to stand there for, 20
behind
minutes
bars,
or whatever.
The visual of him behind bars.
That also behind bars.
Which you can't prove that's the reason why they got rid of it. But
it's not crazy, because Twitter's going to have a field day with that. It's not crazy.
Yeah.
But also, like, I also didn't mind, like, the Royal Rumble type entrances of, like, a countdown. It was a pretty... I don't know, pretty inoffensive change to me, but I agree even why people are. It was
nice to hear Jey Uso's theme song for the first time in 6 months.
Yeah, well, yeah, true. Honestly, yeah, it's like, yeah, I think he said he dusted it off after 3 months. What did you feel about shark cages? Would you miss them? Or?
Yeah, I thought for the setup, where are you gonna put them?
That's my thinking too, right? Is like, yeah, you gotta like turn the corner too, so it's like, yeah.
But I thought it kind of added a nice identity for the specific WWE style WarGames match, because we also were treated with a lot of AEW Blood and Guts match earlier in the month, and they do that. They don't do the cages.
We're gonna talk about Blood and Guts, and we're like, don't you worry.
Cool.
We're gonna talk about it. But okay, I also want to talk about, which I'm gonna make a note of this here. I definitely want to talk about. Biggest controversy of this match is Jey Uso running back the theme song in the middle of the match. How do you feel about it? I kind of know where I stand and have a little 2 cents to give. I don't know who wants to start off.
I will start.
Okay.
This is Jey Uso. So whatever I think about it kind of doesn't matter. I'm someone that's been very much in between on Jey Uso altogether.
Same.
He's for the kids. I also kind of think he's overly hated to the point where it's like anytime I see Jey Uso hate, I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like, even though like to what they're saying, I kind of agree with. I'm also someone too that if I think of something that's clever, I will also make fun of Jey Uso too. So it's like I'm very much in the middle of the whole Yeet Man dilemma, the controversy, if you will.
Right.
So, but him doing this mid match definitely did not sit completely well with me. However, I do rewind 25 years ago when his literal dad was doing a three-way dance with his two other partners, made a Royal Rumble match. So I guess the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. And again, the crowd ate it up. It was in many ways, unfortunately, probably to the crowd, the highlight of the night for the crowd because they hated the ending of the post WarGames stuff. But my only problem, especially though, is then Jey can do this mid-match, and I think it creates a moment, sure, but then have that play into the match. Don't have CM Wife play air guitar on the goddamn steel chair.
There's no guitar in that song.
Have him be old man Punk. Say, get the hell down from there and help me against these beasts who I'm fighting. Have Jimmy Uso be frustrated. Cody Rhodes a bit too goofy, so I don't believe him if he would be frustrated. But have it play into the match.
I like that. I didn't think of that.
And because I was saying for days leading up to the WarGames on here, and anyone that listened to me, I think Jey Uso was going to be the X factor. Whether that meant like a heel turn, or that meant like him in the frustration with him and Rowan boiling over. I thought Jey Uso would be kind of like the super X factor of this match. Instead, he kind of comes out doing his meme shtick and having everyone kind of have these divisive and kind of true opinions on him. And it did set up beautifully, a Brock. Here, the party's over.
Yep, that was good.
Making kids cry moment too, but I do see both sides of the controversy for sure. I hate to be a middleman on it, but
no, but we're kind of honestly we're kind of in the same boat. Yeah. Trying to get my words in order because admittedly this is going to be the TikTok, but yeah, I do. Do I like it? No. Do I think it's annoying? Yes. Do I think it's for me? No. I think a lot of people forget that this product isn't just for 30-year-olds. A lot of this product is also for young people, teenagers, kids, the live audience. It's a live show also at the end of the day. You're allowed to dislike it. I don't even like it, but I think a lot of people they get stuck in the mode of thinking that everything needs to be for them, everything needs to be catered for them. If they don't like something, then that's the wrong thing or whatever. When you're in the crowd, first of all, and that's going off, like 99% chance or 99% of people are playing into it and having fun and it's a good time and whatever. Does it make the match seem less serious? Again, yeah, which is probably why I don't like it in a WarGames match. But again, I think it's not just talking circles, but I think my real big takeaway is just like sometimes things are just for like the kids. And I've said this take before, Jey Uso, and people don't like this, but Jey Uso to what Rey Mysterio and Jeff Hardy was to us as kids or whatever. Jey Uso is that to kids now. You don't have to like that. Is Jeff Hardy and Rey Mysterio way better than Jey Uso? Yeah. I'm also a 30-year-old, 29-year-old, 30-year-old man saying that. Kids love Jey Uso. They're their guy. Let them have it. It's fine. Again, I think a lot of people are coming across, and I'm including myself in this, like, get off my lawn, you kids and your skateboards or whatever, which again is fine to be. And again, I am in that same boat, but like sometimes it's just kids playing outside, that's kind of my thing.
And if you're someone that's really mad about this, just understand the match hadn't even begun yet. So,
yeah, sure. The match. Yeah, that's another people's point is like,
let me get my shit in.
Yeah.
Let's have a moment. Let's have fun.
I don't know if I nailed that for that. I think I thought too much of that as the TikTok clip. I don't know if I nailed it, but okay.
A million suplexes, a few F5s, one belly to belly that almost killed Cody. Roman Brock standoff. That was pretty cool. But, Brock just didn't see a punch coming from a mile away. But then the match begins.
And the match starts. Which is kind of like, it's not a real problem. That's kind of part of my problem with like WarGames is like 40 minutes goes by with even less stakes, even like if the only stake in the match is winning or losing the match, you don't even have that for the first like 30 minutes because you're waiting for people to enter, and it's like, I think I would rather WarGames start with everyone starting in the match. Sure, if the match is shorter, like fine, but like I think I'd prefer that. Like I said, not like a crazy stance, but like something I picked up on. Do we want to talk about the Masked Man at this point?
You mean the double-cheeked Masked Man?
The Masked Man with the dumper, the Masked Man with a big old rump. So yeah, this ends with another black zip-up hoodie. Guy running in, hits a super kick, hits a curb stomp. Instantly, I don't know how you felt, but instantly I'm like, is that Seth Rollins? Oh my God, it's Seth Rollins. I mean, I think that's kind of the point. And there's even stuff that we're about to get to, I think, on Raw that plays into that thought of them trying to make you believe it's Seth Rollins. Stomp, he jets out of there, scales the cage like only Chris Jericho could probably do. And then that's the end of the match. So the biggest takeaway here, or the biggest question, is who is the masked man? And now there's people are looking at the dumper and be like, there's only one person with that rump, it's Austin Theory. I've heard a couple other takes, it being like an Ethan Page or someone else from NXT. People are saying Chris Jericho. One thing here though, which I do think is interesting, I don't think this is the direction they're going, but I saw one person saying like it could be Jericho. Not that I'm with this, but like the benefit of a mask and a hood is they can play it off as anyone. There was no reveal. So they can, which it would be super silly and dumb, but they could be like, oh, that was old man Jericho that did that. And you know what I mean? Like whoever that was in the mask isn't necessarily going to be who ends up being revealed.
No, they have to. The body of that masked man was brawling. I even thought it couldn't have been Seth Rollins. I don't think Seth Rollins has those shoulders or that dumpa. So it was, to me, it was like, even though he did the curb stomp, I was like, no, that's not Seth Rollins. He had double shoulder surgery, even though we've seen him faking it before.
Right.
But it to me, like, if they were to do that, that would be egregious.
Yeah. Oh, I don't disagree.
Yeah.
So yeah, and so then you go to Raw, 'cause this all still kind of ties in with the masked man stuff, and like, no one's really, especially in the Vision, no one's really making a big deal about it. No one really seems to care. Adam Pearce is backstage, like telling officials, like, keep your eye out. And then throughout the show, which I didn't even really pick up on this too much during the show, I kind of saw it after, where Pearce, people were saying they started to see Seth Rollins backstage. Did you pick up on that?
No.
It happened like twice. Adam Pearce made note that like, oh, someone saw Seth Rollins, and I forget who it was. I think it was AJ Styles and Dragon Lee after their match, before they got their match made. AJ Styles, I think, was like, oh yeah, I saw Seth Rollins, like whatever. And then Pierce was like, well, this isn't about Seth Rollins. It was just like, so they're like, are they trying to play this up as if this masked man is actually Seth Rollins?
And if so, why the hell would Seth Rollins help the Vision who just turned on him?
Right. I think that's and I admittedly kind of, overlapped that fact. Once I saw Seth Rollins come, I was like, no way he's back with the Vision. But then you're right. It's like, oh, right. Like they beat the shit out of him. And that was the play on the injury or whatever. People were saying Becky Lynch as well. That could have been.
No way. Becky Lynch was so jacked.
Becky Lynch is jacked.
He's like sitting tall too.
Tall.
I thought it could have been Randy Orton, to be honest with you, but he's not. I mean, no, he could scale the cage, but it was very fast the way the masked man did scale the cage.
But yeah, I think it's like
it's theory.
And then we didn't get a reveal last night,
right?
And we didn't again.
Which, by the way, though, Logan Paul in the Vision.
Oh, sure,
We
yeah.
were kind of debating a little bit. I'm like, I don't think Logan Paul's in the Vision. I think last night solidifies that Logan Paul backing up Bron Breakker in that promo. He's in the Vision.
Yeah, But yeah, I don't know. I'm just really, and believe like there's a couple conversations we had, I guess, against the masked man. It's like I just want to start with like that being the ending, because I guess we'll talk about more of the masked man in terms of Raw stuff, I guess. But like to conclude Survivor Series and them doing like a masked man thing, I am in the camp that I think if you're gonna do that to close out Survivor Series, you're closing out, not talking about Saturday's main event with Cena's last match, but this is your final PLE of the year. I think you need to do a reveal, and I get the camp of like suspense, cliffhanger. I get it. But I think when you had the rest of the show be what it was, I think a reveal or a big moment would have helped out tremendously. People are expecting, if people are speculating now, if they're playing this off as Seth Rollins, are they going to run with this angle until he's actually back? Or are they going to pull a swerve and then reveal like an Austin Theory or whatever? But yeah, I didn't love this to close the match or Survivor Series. It fell flat. It took the wind out of my sails a little bit. As intrigued as I now am, but like I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at with it. I'm just kind of like, and Raw didn't help. Again, Raw was just kind of like I didn't get much, and like I don't know. It was odd.
crowd booed to smithereens. It was a lackluster ending to the show. I personally like the non-reveal because I think it's really cliche now for a masked man to come into the ring, do the business, and then reveal. So the fact that they kind of did something a little bit different, I thought I liked it a little bit. I
can see that.
Though, and then now we have all this kind of fun speculation, but now the speculation kind of gets overlooked when the fact that the main clue is the cheeks, which I think is really funny.
So funny.
But to me, it really points to this being Theory, especially considering Theory's long rumored association with the potential with the Vision, even when Seth was there.
He's been brought up for
a long time.
Yeah.
He's been gone for a long time. And then you even rewind many years ago, sort of blanking on the faction's name right now, but he was with Seth with the AOP and Buddy Murphy.
Whoa, what was
that name?
Seth was the Messiah.
And then what was the Final Testament? No, that was Carrion. What was the name?
Was it like a church of something? A cult? What was it?
Yeah, that's
all right, you look it up. I'll find the answer, but
you mean keep going?
Yeah, you keep going.
So I think
people are saying Buddy Matthews could be.
That'd be kind of cool. I love Buddy. I just think with the history there, for sure, Theory is the culprit, and I think he is a good fit for the Vision. Another young guy. I think he being next to Logan Paul, being next to Bronson Reed, being next to Bron Breakker and Paul Heyman is a good fit for him. He's in the camp of Solo Sikoa, of a guy he's been given already so much. You don't want to give up on them. I see the potential in him. I think you're someone that kind of not the biggest Theory fan, and I think many people are in that camp as well. But I kind of look back to this part of his career being like when Randy Orton was still not yet with Evolution, still trying to find his footing. He's so young, and the WWE obviously loves the guy. He got that early endorsement. He's not going anywhere, and this would be a perfect way to throw him back in the main event picture.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always ready to become a fan of someone, but he hasn't done much. And it's funny you say it because I've seen, maybe it's just different algorithms, but I've seen nothing but it's Theory. Theory's so underrated. He's been this. All of a sudden, to me, it seems like all of a sudden people are the biggest Austin Theory fans in the world. Which
Fickle
I'm not
fans.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend I ever was or whatever. But I said, I'm more than willing to, I obviously want the best for this guy's career. And yeah, he is obviously talented in the ring, but I haven't been given much. There's not much for me to be hell yeah, Austin Theory. But I want that to happen.
Sure.
I want to become an Austin Theory fan.
Did you find the name?
I don't think it was ever named. There was one thing that said it might be they might have been referred to the Messiah and his disciples.
Okay,
but there was never really an official name.
Okay, cool.
At least from one Reddit post.
We're not crazy.
We're not that crazy.
I like the visual of all the heels celebrating, hands in the air, pyro going off. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yep.
And then another cool visual was Roman in the middle of both rings. Both Usos on one ring, and then both champions, world champions, that is, on the other side of the ring, kind of demonstrating Roman's kind of in that crosshairs. Right now, I love my tribal chief, don't get me wrong, but the ending, that being the ending, and then him kind of turning to Cody being we're never teaming together again, and just kind of trying to get that out over a course of boos from the live crowd, which it's not how you want to end a show. But again, I like a show that ends with one, the heels winning, which again that should have been the case, and then two, I kind of got roasted for this too. This take of I just kind of feel like we are as fans, and it's kind of WWE's fault. We're kind of trained for when the show is ending, and we got to get a viral moment. I mean, we're kind of what 2 years removed from the big CM Punk ending Survivor Series coming out, or even when Brock came back at SummerSlam and stuff like that. So I feel like we're sort of conditioned for expecting more at the end of a pay-per-view, especially after a heel victory and you have all these big stars in the ring. Nothing happened. I definitely would have preferred getting, whether it be more Jey X Factor, him doing something, him being punished for not taking the match too seriously, maybe, or if it was him, the Roman Cody face off, maybe Cody slapped Roman, because a lot of speculation of what's to happen at Mania or whatever. But yeah, definitely a lackluster ending to an okay show, in my opinion. And
even with, because again, we were kind of touting on this podcast, and you especially Jay's gonna be X Factor, and which we're going to talk about, a little later, of the Jey stuff on Raw, which seemed like we kind of got that. It seemed like what maybe should have happened in that WarGames match did end up happening on Raw, which is great. I do like it. But there wasn't a whole lot of Jey and Roman and Jey tweaking. And like you said, the ending was just Cody Roman. But I do. So I got some other War Games general questions, but I got a couple stuff I want to make sure we hit on. But coming out of that ending, there are now a lot of I don't know, call it speculation, call it rumors of what the Mania matches are looking like this year. That being, well, I guess one is a little bit maybe out of the way because people were speculating Punk Breakker for Mania, but we're getting that now at January 5th. Doesn't mean they can't run it back, but so we're getting that. I think, I do want to talk about Bron Breakker's promo as well a little bit, so we'll kind of get more to that then. But I guess the main question is, how do you feel about Roman Cody 3, if that's the direction? Because it seems like that might be the direction.
Jimmy loves being the minority. Yeah, I'm super hyped. I would love Roman versus Cody 3. It's the closest thing that we're sniffing to Rock and Austin, the trilogy at Mania that they had. This though definitely kind of has more scales for the Rock and Austin's third match was kind of just not the main event and kind of Austin's last match for 20 years.
Well, it's going to be Roman's last match for 20 years.
Great point. I'm sure I'll find, reasons not to like it leading up to the match. Because again, I'm Mr. QB1. I love my tribal chief, but when it comes down to Cody Roman, even in the past two Manias, I've been Team Cody all the way. But that just gets so exciting because you have your two biggest stars with the most kind of, probably separated fan bases, I'll say. Like you're either a Cody guy or a Roman guy.
Yeah.
Although I'm sitting here, someone that is kind of does rep both, but I do choose Cody over Roman. It's a massive match and I think they have terrific chemistry. And then two, if they can kind of promise me too, if there's no shenanigans, because think of their first match, Solo Sikoa was the deciding factor. Their second match, The Undertaker was the deciding factor. Right. So give me a third clean, classic 35-minute match. Scared to death for my QB1 with the result, but I would love that match.
I'm a little bit more indifferent. I like it on paper because they're 1-1 against each other at Manias, right? Roman at 39, Cody at 40. So on paper, I like completing the trilogy and getting the final winner and who's the better one. I would hope, and I'm seeing some talk about this, kind of like you're saying, if we're getting a third one, it would make it more exciting for me if we get a stipulation. Put them in a fucking steel cage match or Hell in a... I don't know. Give me 3 stages of hell or something maybe even less extreme than that. It's fine. I think I'm just I think I'm just in the camp I want to see something new. I think I'm a little bit with the people who are a little bit creatively tired with WWE right now. I just think there's other options to go with. People are looking at Cody Punk, which I think is a way more refreshing one, which I agree isn't as big as a Cody Roman, which is a whole other story of that's WWE's problem they don't have stars and the biggest match they have to just keep redoing. But I'm not hating it. I'm not jumping for joy at it right now. But like I said, on paper, if I'm completing the trilogy, it makes sense. I would then there's a whole other can of worms of how much does The Rock get involved? And you know what I mean? Does The Rock circle back and ruin something again? I don't know.
I've heard the recent, the previous match that was going to main event WrestleMania 42 was supposed to be Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns. How do you feel about that? Do you like that more for Roman compared to Roman versus Cody 3?
We doing a title or anything? Would it be?
I would imagine Seth would probably be still the world champion.
Seth's title.
Yeah. That's kind of, it's not technically fresh, but it's also,
I think
they've never had a one-on-one match at Mania. So
I think I like it better because Seth's always I've always been better than you, and I'm your kryptonite sort of thing. I think I like
lore,
it better, exactly. But then all the whole comment, the whole month leading up to that match is where's
back.
Dean? Where's it? Yeah, 100%. That's crazy. Okay, let's go to Let's see. All right, I gotta order some stuff around here.
Yeah.
You briefly brought it up, but I want to kind of hammer home the. Sorry. Okay. Kind of want to hammer home the question. The biggest thing leading up to this WarGames pay-per-view, PLE, and coming out of it was, should WWE stop doing WarGames? Should they take a break doing it? Should they go back to the traditional 5-on-5, this team versus that team, be it SmackDown versus Raw Survivor Series tag thing? What do we feel about the current state of WarGames? So the first question is, should they? Because the next question is, will they? And I know the answer to that. I know the answer to that second question. But I'm curious what your thoughts are on coming out of this WarGames. You know, what your thoughts are. Should they keep doing them? Should we see WarGames next year?
I believe I seen some of your content regarding this issue, and I totally agree with what you said. It should be a fluid situation. You have other companies you could NXT could get WarGames for 1 year, or if it calls for it, have one WarGames match, men or women, and then mix in the traditional Survivor Series matches, which I'm a big fan of, and it's I think they should definitely treat it like a fluid situation. I'd even love it if you could scrap it having to happen at Survivor Series, because I'm a guy that, you know, I like to live tweet the shows. I was using hashtag Survivor Series. I was using hashtag WarGames.
Hashtag.
I was using hashtag Survivor Series WarGames. So maybe just kind of have WarGames on the back burner of, again, only bring it out when it's absolutely necessary, and when you absolutely can then put over the match with maybe having the losing team take time off or make it super bloody and over the top like we see in other companies. I don't know. I think for sure they should, you know, reevaluate and listen to a lot of the criticisms of, you know, WarGames being a bit bland, predictable, and the lack of stakes is frustrating for someone that watches the weekly product. Because again, I'm someone that give me a reason why I'm watching this match that doesn't truly begin for 45 minutes,
right?
You know, but again, it was compelling because you get all these stars mingling. So there's obviously many things, good things about WarGames, but
it's entertaining.
Yeah, yes.
I think at bare minimum too is like, you can't have both world champions in, like, you know, like, I think that would even be the problem if we did go to the traditional 5-on-5. Because at the end of the day, if we're getting right down to it, it is still like a 5-on-5 thing. You still, like, a traditional 5-on-5 would still kind of be, I don't know, maybe a little meh if there's still no stakes or still no story. And I think you can't tie up both world champions. But yeah, I you know.
Do you wish they would go back to the days of brand warfare where the two world champions would face each other? Or is that also kind of a cop-out of not having a title match?
You mean like a singles champion versus champion?
Yeah, because like back in the day, for like they would have the traditional 5-on-5 for the brands, but then also they would do the, you know, the world champion versus a universal champion. That's what we got, Brock versus AJ and stuff like that, Roman versus Drew.
I guess that's been my problem. Like,
yeah, we do that at Crown Jewel already. So
there's already such a, like, as much as I said earlier about, like, you know, this is a big 4 PLE and Survivor Series really just a weak one, because it's, if you think about it too, like, I don't like, you know, when Night of Champions comes around or like whatever, and you do champion versus champion. Again, that kind of goes to what you're saying, is there's usually no stakes, and it's usually just like an exhibition match, and like that shouldn't be the case for like a big year-ending big 4 PLE. So I think, like, I don't know, object permanence in the WWE, I think, is a problem where if people don't have it, they want it. If people don't see it, they have a, you know, they have a problem with it. Being like, people are all like, we want the traditional 5-on-5. It would be better. But that doesn't solve the problems that we had with WarGames. I do think it would be more appropriate for the matches or the people in the match that we got this year. I don't think WarGames was needed for either match. But in terms of like the actual problems with it being stakes or lackluster or whatever, that doesn't fix that problem, in my opinion.
I think for one idea for stakes, I saw my friend Jey say this, that it was, you know, it'd be kind of something that, you know, WWE would have to like really put over, and they would never do it just because like, it takes, you know, it would take one time and also a longer payoff. But like the 5 men that won the WarGames match, if you give them the last 5 spots in the Royal Rumble, and then maybe leading up to the Royal Rumble, you know,
or they can pick their spots, which I guess why wouldn't you pick the last? Yeah,
right. But then also too, maybe you kind of divide up, like, okay, you guys have the last 5 spots. Fight amongst yourselves. You have some matches on Raw to decide who gets 25, who gets 26, who gets 27, who gets 28. So I
guess my only, and it's more a me thing, my only problem with that would be I like surprises in the Rumble, and then that kind of eliminates the last 5 spots of the surprise. But I like the idea is there in terms of like,
something,
you know, you get
worth
something.
Fighting for. Yeah.
So to the second part of that question though, will they take a break on WarGames?
No.
No, they will not.
No.
Because they sold 46,000 plus tickets. It's
And that's what matters to me.
Right. Not that I'm caring about that either, but like that's what cares. It's what if WWE's not gonna fix or change that if that's what worked this year, it's been what's been working. It is still a spectacle of a match. And like I said, if these teams were the same teams, we had traditional elimination, Team Cody versus Team Division or whatever. I honestly think that's not selling tickets as much as the WarGames matches.
No.
And I think that does shine a light. They do use the WarGames match as a crutch because like people bought a ticket to see a WarGames match, not necessarily like to see Cody finally get one on the Vision or whatever. It was because there was 2 WarGames matches on the card. If there was 2 5-on-5 traditions, this I already don't love this PLE. Like I said, I think it's like a C. I'm not as harsh on it as everyone.
Mm-hmm.
If we got the same people with a traditional thing, I think this would be a pretty bad. This would be worse than WrestlePalooza. You know what I mean?
And then you also have guys taking pinfall losses in a match because there'd be eliminations, so that's also a bad thing compared to only one person takes a pin in a match.
Right.
So.
And then who's the number one contender? You can't determine number one contender
Exactly.
in that case. All right. Well, kind of circle off. I do want to talk about Breakker's promo, but we'll talk about a little something more. What have we got? Talk about a little something more spicy first.
Okay.
Because comparison, we all love to do it. Why not? Let's do it here. People have been doing it all week. We just had Blood and Guts the week prior. Now, I think I don't know, we have a very WWE leaning audience is what I've learned on this podcast, and just the internet doesn't like when you give AEW its praise. But I think, I'm going to speak for myself. I think, for my taste, I think that's an emphasis because that's part of the conversation. For my taste, the Blood and Guts matches kicked WarGames' ass, and it's not even close. Now, my caveat with that is my preference. These are 2 very different match styles. Granted, I don't know if they should be, but they were. We got a little bit of that Cody and Punk blood. WWE style nowadays, we're not going to get something super hardcore, whatever. Granted, the ones in the past were a lot more hardcore. Women and men were a lot more hardcore than what we got this year. Now, granted, a lot of people do not like the over-the-top blood and guts, and, you know, I'm not even saying we need forks every single hardcore match, but I got more of what is advertised for a WarGames style match out of Blood and Guts. It was more hardcore. It was bloody. I'm not saying that WWE also needs to have a Tony Storm throw in a glass mirror at someone. I just like that shit. And there's a whole other conversation of like, you know, they're more true to it. I don't know about all that, but I think just for the sake of comparing everyone else is doing, why not? I don't know. I'm curious what your take is versus the, you know, if you have a Blood and Guts versus WarGames or wwhatever.
You're gonna hate my take. It's such a middleman. I'm gonna say my real name, middleman James take, where it's you know, I think there's room to say that these 2 matches have different names, and that's for a reason, because they are 2 completely different matches.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Blood and Guts is as advertised. Blood and Guts. It's over the top. It really brought me back to like, this is hardcore ECW days. It was insane. There's things about it that I probably, if I was, you know, running my own organization, I would change, and kind of, I do have a more less is more approach in wrestling for sure. I thought for my opinion of the WarGames match, I do like when you put over the cage as a weapon compared to bringing in a bunch of gimmicks. But again, I'm never going to complain about seeing the stuff I saw in that women's WarGames match. Of the 4 WarGames matches, the women's AEW WarGames match or Blood and Guts match, again, it's different match type or different match name. I out of those four very similar matches, I thought the AEW women's match was my favorite of the 4.
I agree.
But yeah, it's kind of I kind of don't have a comparison take for you. I think there's the 2 separate things in 2. They're all working super hard. The wrestlers in there, and we should be able to. You should watch both of them because they both were something to behold if you're a wrestling fan in the year 2025. But I think those are 2 separate matches. I do wish though, because again, you might need to refresh my memory because I feel like when they brought back WarGames, I feel like WWE kind of brought it back first, and then Tony, and then AEW.
Well, WWE did it in NXT for a while,
Yep.
and then they brought it to the main roster, And from there, I definitely think WWE was doing it first on the main roster before Blood and Guts. Could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's the case.
It does stink that we got both those. I mean, as someone that is in the circle of an AW and WWE fan, it does stink for me that I got them all so close to each other.
Yeah.
I wish they could, move it because maybe that kind of, de-appreciated my value for sure of the WarGames matches, because I already seen it earlier this month at AW and Free TV. And then another thing too, both companies I want to kind of hit you on the hand with a ruler is figure out doing which one you get rid of, but like do one WarGames match a night.
Yeah.
I don't disagree
with that.
Because
I even maybe one match is a traditional tag, one match is a war. Speaking, WWE specifically, one match is a war games. But yeah, no, I agree with that.
I love the gender equality. I love that whatever the men get, the women get. But having two of those matches on the card to me is a bit ridiculous because again, for the men's War Games match, which came after the women's I keep calling it War Games and Blood and Guts, but for AW, the women went first, and by the time it was the men's turn, especially because you got a crazy power hops, Heyman Page match in between. But by the time we got to the men's, I was a bit tired, and kind of the same thing a bit for War Games last night, although. 4 matches. I was ready to wait a little bit, but I'm someone that really loved the WWE Women's War Games match way more than the men's actually. So I gave the men's 3.5 stars out of 5.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my take.
Well, yeah, I don't know why you said I'd hate that take because I kind of said what you said at the beginning of mine, where I said. Like I said, I kind of brought it up.
You wanted some spice, I feel like.
Yeah, I want some controversy. Yeah. But no,
fuck AEW, fuck WWE.
I even said that at the beginning of my thing with it, where they are very different, and the only reason I compared it because they are the same match. Yeah, essentially.
But
they are. They are. Let's not be crazy.
Even one had the shark cages. That was a bit different.
Extreme Rules match, no holds barred match,
relax
rule. Yeah. But no, that's I just wanted to bring it up for the sake of it being a topic. But no, I agree. It's like they were. While I do think they are basically the same match, and I think the WWE ones this year could have used a little bit more hardcoreness to it. They are very different. They end up being different styles, which would be hard to compare. It would be easier to compare if WWE did more blood or put more tables in it or use thumbtacks. Then I think there's even more comparisons. But and again, that's why I kind of preface it. Was like at this point they're so different, where it comes down to taste. If you really, which is a lot of people again that do not, and I don't blame you, that do not like that like blood and thumbtacks and glass and Maria Shafir stepping on glass, and you'll prefer the WWE one. That's more than okay. I'm not blaming anyone from seeing a bloodbath and then going like, that's not my preference. I get it.
But it's a double ring cage match. What do you think's gonna happen?
Again, that's kind of my problem with WWE. Yeah. It's like I want to see a little something, which kind of goes to the whole thing of like, if these two teams had a reason to hate each other, there wasn't really a ton of reason for them to kill each other. Because
Cody got a little bit of blood, Punk got a little bit of blood, but that.
All right, we'll jump more to Raw here. I've been kind of jumping around it for a while, but we talked about Bron Breakker a little earlier, and officially Bron Breakker is the number 1 contender. We are getting Bron Breakker versus CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship on January 5th, so about a little more than a month removed. But that Bron Breakker promo on Raw, man, ooh. I saw some people hate this, and it's just like, I don't know. I gotta delete Twitter again from my phone. I re-download it on my phone again because it's so easy to it's the best place to get immediate wrestling images. If I use for TikTok, whatever. But that sucks that I have to I don't want to re-download it every single time. But anyway, I feel like I've been getting influenced by that app again. But anyway, I thought this promo was electric, and I've been seeing weeks ago I was on here being like. Bron Breakker should have already had a world title. He's the guy right now. WWE is too scared to let a young guy find some success or whatever. And then a lot of people were like, sure, he's pretty good in the ring, but he lacks this or he's not ready. That's what a lot of people said. He's not ready. And a lot of people pointed to his promo, bro. And he even said it on the mic. He was like, for people saying I can't cut a promo, here's a promo. And he went fucking crazy. He took the Oakleys off. He meant business. No, I really like this. I'm curious as the token Bron Breakker. I mean, at this point, we're both Bron Breakker guys, but like as the token Bron Breakker guy, how'd you feel about the promo? Did you think it sucked? Did you think it sucked butt? What'd you think?
It was bad ass.
Loved
man.
it.
I got chills thinking about it. I'm all fired up thinking about it. I watched it like 3 times on the way here. he took it personal of saying like Punk at the end of WrestleMania 41, his match, Bron Breakker's that is. Punk went up to him and goes, "Hey man, great run as IC champ. Let's see if you can cut that promo. Promo cut, soft ass bitch." I didn't love the CM wife thing. I mean, I call CM Punk CM wife, but he's like, "Oh, the war at home. Your wife's a bigger star." I thought that was kind of corny, but other than that, the emotion was there. The squeak in his voice. Ooh. Scared though. January 5th. Does it happen? I don't know. It might be too soon for the boy. But at the end of the day, he's there. He's at the dance. He's my favorite wrestler for a reason. It's the best when you believe what he says, and I believe every goddamn word he says. He's unpredictable. He doesn't make sense. He's so fast. He's a Steiner. Maybe this could be opportunity to because I don't love the Bron Breakker name. I'll be the first one to admit it, and maybe it's far fetched to even imagine that, but. God, I love this guy. Put every world title on him.
Yeah, he's more than ready. I think this Ross. Again, I don't know what's going to happen on January 5th. A lot of people didn't know what was happening on January 6th. So. That was a dumb joke.
I'll tell you what, if Braun stormed the Capitol, we would just be a different country right now.
That's great.
I'll tell you what.
So yeah, I liked. I guess I didn't have much more to say about this promo than that. I guess like at the end. People didn't like, which I didn't love it either. Logan Paul going like, "Damn!" But apparently, I saw some tweet from someone who was there live because obviously the camera angle didn't catch it. Apparently, I don't know how true this is, but apparently Braun like slammed down the microphone and it bounced up into Logan Paul's hand, and that's why. Which I don't know how true that is. I did just see a comment saying like I was there live, and that's what happened. I don't know how true that is, but yeah, no, I thought this was great. I am curious what's gonna happen. Like, why are they bumping this out so far? I guess maybe because, like, they do treat the first shows in the new year as, like, a new season. Like, I guess that's the reason.
They told it as the anniversary of Raw on Netflix.
Right.
Which, like, who gives a...
Who gives that F? But, yeah, I love this. All right, let's move on to, I think some stuff you'll love. I'm sure you've been chomping at the bit to talk about here. We got LA Knight defeating Jey Uso to advance in the tournament. Shocked. I didn't see this coming at all. I was in the live chat on stream yesterday, and everyone was like, a bunch of people being like, "Yeah, it'd be cool for LA Knight to win," but like, "Yeah, it's Jey." To the point where in the weeks coming up to this, I could have imagined a world. I'm not saying I like it. Where Jey Uso ends up being John Cena's final opponent. I saw it because WWE is pushing them. They're so hot on him. I could see a world they do that. It would be bad.
The Rumble.
Right. Call back to like the Rumble. It started this whole thing and whatever. LA Knight defeated Jey Uso. Got that cheeky sort of roll up coming off of a superplex that like kind of debating if that was like Jey looked pissed at that.
He did.
I don't know if he just like if that just really fucking hurts. I'd imagine it hurts.
Because I mean, LA did kind of slip up getting up there for a bit. Maybe that was kind of a little botch, and then like, kind of the release point I think could have been a bit more further back on Jay's back when he landed, because it did kind of seem like maybe LA. Maybe he did that move and it did hurt Jey a bit more than it probably should have.
Sure, I mean, I saw that and I was like, whoa. But then like that even plays into like the ending. He gets the roll up. He's fucking pissed. We're like, I was, again, we'll bring up the term that I hate. We're getting worked. Where I was like, Jey's mad. Oh, what happened? Jey's mad. But before we get to like what happens after the fact and what happens with Jey's stuff. LA Knight advances, and obviously, there's another match that happened. We'll lump in the whole tournament here, I guess. LA Knight. Yeah, I don't want to go too fast. So I want you to have your shine with LA Knight. LA Knight going over Jey Uso, massive win, shocking. What do we think?
Good to know that there is a God up in the sky, baby. Man, I said this last week. I'm like, and we again because you thought I was gonna say LA Knight to win the whole tournament. I was like, no, have LA Knight at least beat Jey Uso, which again at the moment it seemed a little far fetched because we thought the writing might have been on the wall for one main event Jey Uso, but Jey Uso, you grab that tag rope, brother. You go back to the mid. No, I'm just joking, man. But This match was pretty good. I thought it was pretty good. Jey can
I
go
thought it was good too.
almost crazy. Like Jey Uso is a wrestler. He also looks a bit thinner, I would say. Can I say that? I think he looked. Jey Uso.
Sure, I didn't really notice.
He looks like he's like, you know, because he's people kind of slag on him not looking like a world champion, but like he kind of looked. He looks. Jey Uso, you're the man. I love LA Knight's burning hammer. He had a good burning hammer.
Sick.
He busted out a few times before. I love it. And then, you know, like I said, he flubbed up in that top rope maneuver a little bit, suplex, whatever. You know, given I would have maybe liked a BFT to end the match, not a roll up,
sure,
not a fruit roll up, but and that kind of more so, you know, gives me little hope to LA Knight winning the finals if he can only roll up Jey Uso if he's going against the Ring General. But again, huge moment for Los Angeles Knight. But it's the clock. Like clockwork, we're back. We're back.
Instantly saw that meme the second he won. I was like, we're back. It's over. We're back. It's over.
Massive win.
I guess I will take this opportunity to defend Jey Uso's spear, as everyone wants me to do.
Yes.
Hey, listen. I'm not saying it's a good spear. But I'm mainly commenting on this because like it's the discourse, what people are talking about, and maybe it's just Twitter. People are hating on Jey Uso. The guy lost the match, and people are still like, "Fuck this guy."
Solid match, I thought. Opening match to Raw, like it was good.
And then people are mad at like the super kick and the spear, and like, yes, is his super? Does he go? Is it a Roman Reigns level spear? No. Is it a Goldberg level spear? No. I don't know why people want that. Jay's a smaller guy. Like you even said, he looked even thinner. Jey is a smaller guy. He's been a tag team guy his whole life. He's a smaller guy. He's pulling out a spear. Sure, could you argue for him to just not do it? Sure, I don't care. I had that argument all day. I don't care if he does it or not, but he does do it. And when he hits you, to me, it looks realistic. He makes contact with the people are now calling it a headbutt, which is like, sure, whatever. I don't know. Are you in the ring? I don't know. But either way, even if it's a headbutt, it looks impactful. And I'm starting to see people being like, that's not even a spear. All he's doing is running into him and shoulder tackling him.
That's a spear, brother. Hey, what do you think a spear is?
Like, huh?
Yeah, no, I'm totally with you, man. It's not as bad as people claim. It's the dog mentality. People just love the dog on Jey Uso.
It's the cool thing to do now. It's what gets you likes on Twitter and whatever. But again, I'm not. I always say on this podcast where I feel like I come across like the biggest Jey Uso defender. I'm not really a Jey Uso fan. I think he's fine. I like him. But like, I'm not. You know, it's all whatever to me. But the fact that then people see that, like, I don't know how you can see that and be like, you don't have to like it, but like there's impact there. I even like it because like it seems realistic for a smaller guy. LA Knight's a wrestler. LA Knight's a big guy. He's more jacked than Jey Uso. You're not gonna like. It's not fucking Big Show spearing through Rey Mysterio. He's gonna kind of hit him, bounce off him. And it's more, it didn't fit, you know, he does the splash afterward, and it's like, just a kind of a quick impact spear. There's different levels to these, like, moves. And I don't know why everyone wants, like, I don't know, people want a Goldberg spear out of him. And again, I don't even think it's that good. I'm just saying it's not the worst thing in the world.
Selfishly, as soon as I saw your tweet take off, it did bring a smile to my face because I also went through the little gauntlet of, you know, we had that TikTok of the short form,
Kairi Sane.
and I said Jey Uso over Kairi Sane's spear, more so just because again I recognize that Jey Uso is one of his signature moves because I love wrestling, I watch wrestling, is a spear. I wasn't familiar with Kairi's, and I said Jey. Yeah. And I just got unloaded on. People just love to dog on me for saying that about Jey Uso. So imagine how Jey Uso feels, you know. And now you're catching wind of it just because you say a spear happens to look realistic. Not even that you love it or it's better than someone else's. It's just a opinion.
Yeah, all I like. It's very funny how like you know, and again, I always say this, and it's never ends up. I always hate the show end up being like talking about me defending myself on Twitter or whatever, but it always happens. Where, like,
it's a long show.
Like all yeah. So, hey, we're an hour 20 into this. At this point, we earned it. It is like the verbiage I use. Like I kind of fuck with his spear, and then it's like. I kind of fuck with it. It's all. I didn't say it's the best. I don't know. It's crazy. And I'm getting called out by everyone on Twitter. This oh fuck 20. I saw open Twitter saw 20 plus.
Oh shoot.
Ruh-roh.
I thought I said 100. I was like, oh boy. But It only goes up to 20, so that's pretty crazy.
I don't want to. I'm gonna get
Not worth
trapped in
it,
the ether
man.
looking at it. Yeah. All right. Let's wrap up here. We have a couple more things to talk about on Raw. But to round out the tournament stuff, we got Big Gunther defeating Solo Sikoa in what is probably Solo Sikoa's best match of his career. This match rocked. I had a ton of fun. Gunther ends up advancing. They're beating the shit out of each other. Oh shit. All right. Well. Okay, because I do. There is other Jey stuff to talk about, but in general, Gunther made sense to go over. I mean, he's the cut in the way, cut and dry favorite. I don't love the low blow to Solo to win it. He's a heel. It's like it's fine. It's whatever. I prefer Gunther not needing to kick Solo Sikoa in the nuts, but like whatever. And then we got Gunther versus LA Knight next week to determine who's going to face John Cena. Do you see a world where it's LA Knight? Could it be LA Knight?
No, but that would be very
Any percent?
shocking. 5% chance LA Knight beats
Wow.
Gunther. I give him a 5%
Okay.
chance. Maybe the whole reasoning for LA Knight's wishy-washy booking, preventing him from being to hit the next level of being a top star, was all for this, for him to win the tournament, upset Gunther, and then retire John Cena. That's the 5% chance in me talking. I do have to put my hand up and apologize to one Solo Sikoa. I think you're absolutely right of nailing the head. This was his best match on the main roster.
It rocked.
I think I said last week the only thing that really we had to look forward to with this match would be Gunther interacting with Tall Tonga. We got that.
got it.
That was
We
pretty
did
crazy.
get that.
But hats off to Solo, and of course hats off to freaking Gunther. Everything felt impactful. I was kind of rooting for Solo at one point.
A little bit, right?
He got
Yeah.
me so much invested. I feel awful for Solo's chest.
Yeah.
He's really funny. And then, when he mimics a wrestler or reacts to like crowd chants, like Solo has really good character work. He definitely needs to improve in ring, but this, like you said, was his best match on the main roster. Gunther has now elevated Javon, Mello, and Solo in this tournament. So I think bigger picture, this tournament is, starting to be like a net positive, I would say.
Yeah.
But yeah, 5% chance for LA Knight to beat Gunther next week. But
And you watch this match, and we've seen people turn on Gunther in the past weeks, and you watch this match, and you would hope that people are like, oh no, like Gunther is, yeah, oh yeah, he's Gunther, oh yeah, but I don't know. I do want to circle back to Jey crash out stuff. So I think there's a lot of interesting stuff there, because after the match, Jay's freaking out. He's just all in his head. He's talking to himself. He throws the Prime bottles everywhere. And then later backstage, he's talking to Jackie Redmond, and he's like, "Not now, Jackie." Kind of circles back, and he
Jay,
says,
it's me.
"Yeah, Jay, it's me." Is
Like,
so
okay,
funny.
okay, Jackie.
Jay, it's me. Jay, it's me is so funny. But he says, I'm gonna get this quote wrong, but says something to the effect of like, Roman was right. Like, those titles belong on him, not me. And he's like, the person that disappoints me most is like who I see in the mirror. Like, he said something to all that effect, which is just like, I don't know. I'm invested. I am so interested what the word is on Jay. We thought we were going into the heel turn with WarGames. Should this stuff maybe have came out a little bit in WarGames at least? I think so. But we got it here on Raw. It's interesting. I don't know. I'm kind of hook, line, and sinker. I'm very interested what's going to happen.
The post-match crash out, I think, was very much relatable for the Jey Uso target demographic. I think it's very relatable for him to sit there crying, throwing the Prime bottles. I think the children really will see that and be like, yeah, that's my guy. Jey Uso, maybe next steps, paint the face white and black, sit in the rafters. It was a very kind of seldom promo, very, very reflective and very kind of, honest and negative with himself. This to me, I totally agree with what you said earlier. Like, we should have seen this level of a crash out, maybe more to an extent,
Sure.
post Survivor Series, WarGames. That would have been really cool. That would have kind of had something.
So imagine if Jay stepped up and was like, "You guys lost this match. What the heck?" He slaps Roman. He slaps Cody. Yeah, I see that.
So there was something there, but yeah, Jey Uso, whether you loved him or you hate him, you watched.
Jey Uso, whether you think he's fine or you hate his guts.
You watched.
All right, to kind of breeze through the rest of the stuff, we're coming close to the end of the show here. Maxine Natty video, that shit fucking rocked. How come we don't do that stuff more? I was just saying recently, I feel it was on a stream or whatever. I was saying recently, like, I think I was watching like some sort of old shit. And And like they don't do like these like outside the ring like videos anymore. You know, we always see like, I don't know, when Triple H invaded the home and like, I don't know, some stuff outside the ring, like video packages and stuff shot cinematically. The way this was shot was so cool. It was very like old school Rocky. The slow reveal that it was Natty Neidhart, which like we got two things here. One, we got Maxine looking like a badass working her ass off, getting her ass kicked, still kind of proving that like, you know, showing that her character is still developing, but she's working so hard and still earned it. Two, and please, 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 by the grace of God, let this be true, we got Natty Neidhart. Natalya, dead. Natty Neidhart, resurrected. Here in WWE. I love this. Love everything about this. I can't say enough about it.
One could only hope that is true, that we do get this version of Natty on TV. I love Maxine taking this shit seriously, saying not only did I get the women's IC title, I want to keep that thing too. I'm taking my training seriously, and what a phenomenal video package from WWE, really putting over both these women. I cannot wait to see what the next steps are and seeing Maxine improve in the ring. Yeah, hell yeah. Give me more classics on Raw, like we saw with her versus Becky Lynch.
Round up the show here. AJ Styles and Dragon Lee defeat the New Day. Again, banger of a match. This shit rocked. The Dragon Lee stomp into the Styles Clash was so sick. People are not giving Kofi Kingston enough credit though for being a huge factor in that move. Shit was really cool. Again, we have the team AJ Lee versus the War Raiders for the tag titles next week. What this is doing, for one, we're getting this level of performances from an AJ Styles at this point in his career, which isn't like shocking, but like it's cool that we're getting them so often. And then Dragon Lee, like what this partnership, these tag titles are doing for Dragon Lee, I think is phenomenal. I love this match, and I'm excited. I'm glad that they are, even Pierce said it, I like having defending champions. I love this team. I like it.
One of the funnest spots I've seen in a long time. I want to say I feel like I probably have seen that in like a Young Bucks match or something like that.
Oh,
but like,
for sure.
What a cool way to get the double stomp into the Styles Clash. And like you said, AJ Styles at this age delivering us classics. Whoever's idea was for AJ Lee or Team AJ Lee to be a team, maybe a little 20% raise. It is Christmas season, but after all.
And then to round out the show, we have Rhea and Io versus Charlotte Flair and Alexa. Again, just and you said it earlier, and I couldn't agree more. The women have been carrying the WWE in 2025. They should have been main eventing more, but I'm so glad we got the main event here. This match rocked. Yes, we did get the interference at the end, which I don't love. Like, it's still a little bit of an eye roll for me, but like, whatever. Kabuki Warriors come in, get the interference, DQ, whatever. Then Roxy and Raquel come in. Liv comes in. Liv ends up standing tall. But again, my general takeaway, regardless of the interference, I still think is a little bit like, the women's Raw tag team division, dude, is so on fire. Great. It's star-studded. I love that Rhea and Io are both taking a pause from the world titles. A lot of people are getting sick of Rhea and Charlotte, for that matter, being in that world title spot. But I'm glad they're elevating these tag titles with their competition. But I love this. I thought it was a really, really fun match. I wish it didn't end in an interference, but like, beggars can't be choosers at this point.
Absolutely. Beggars can't be choosers. And of course, they just it did, create a moment and really made you look at all five of these teams involved and thinking like, oh, goddamn, long gone are the days where you'd see online people crying about the not inclusion of the women's tag team division titles on various cards in various TV shows. Now, to me, one of the most important titles in the WWE, and it's astronomical of where we've come from and how we got here with putting those titles over as much as we have. I feel like many times over the past year, Monday Night Raw has been main evented by tag team women's wrestling, and it's been phenomenal. And I really appreciated this. And are we getting like a huge, big old mayhem type women's tag team match? Sign me up. I'd love to watch that. I compared Rhea and Io to Batista and Ray earlier with their friendship, and then eventually, of course, you're supposed to be my friend whenever that collides would be great. Charlotte and Alexa. I mean, we can maybe compare Charlotte to John Cena, Alexa, Shawn Michaels. We have some 07 big star tag team type moves being made in this women's tag team division, and I'm here for it.
No, I love it. All right, let's close the show with wrestler/match of the week. start with your wrestler. Who do you got for your wrestler of the week?
I got to give it to him, and I feel like he upon his return hasn't gotten too many flowers, even some groans, even some we want someone else. My wrestler of the week, he had a banger of a match, and it could have been my match of the week, but I love the women's WarGames match. I already gave that spoiler away, but my wrestler of the week is Gunther.
Nice.
He's
nice.
I'm so happy he's back, and then last night was really, again, I kind of had low expectations with that match. They exceeded tenfold. Him and Solo worked so damn hard and got me so invested in that match. I generally cannot. I mean, again, I'm a huge LA Knight fan, and it does feel like a foregone conclusion that Gunther will be victorious over LA Knight. But don't get me wrong, I cannot wait to see Gunther versus John Cena.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for it. Like I think now seeing that Gunther Solo match, like I kind of said it earlier, we're back to like oh wait, yeah, that's Gunther. Like everyone got reminded, like, oh yeah, that's Gunther. Like Gunther versus Cena, sure, it is like the obvious pick, and maybe it was a little boring, but like Gunther's had such great match in the past couple weeks that like he's made that the expectation for that match like grow, and I'm also excited for it. My wrestler of the week, I'm giving it to Lash Legend. I think made herself look like a star, got given such a big spot. Being the anchor in that WarGames match I think everyone thought it was going to Nia, and even on the other side, everyone assumed it was going to Rhea, and that also didn't happen. So I think, made a big name for herself, a much needed big name for herself since her main roster debut.
And congrats on The Rock, too.
Oh, yeah, her and Trick, right?
Yep.
Got engaged.
Absolutely.
That's cool.
Yep.
What a power couple. Okay, match of the week. What do you got?
I already alluded to it, the women's WarGames match at Survivor Series. I already talked about tenfold. I just really enjoyed it. And it reminded me of why I love wrestling.
I am going Gunther versus Solo.
Yeah.
Again, I think it made Solo look great. Like these two had a big body meat slapping match, and I loved it. There was like multiple times where like, you could almost see like Solo getting his ass kicked, him being like, holy shit, you know what I mean? Whether that was in character or not, he was, you know what I mean? But yeah, I think I don't know. Last night's, it was funny. Last night, whenever I'm so high on a Raw, I thought Raw was great last night. And then like, I mean, great, as is just the internet, and not everyone's gonna have the same opinion, but people are saying I fell asleep during that Raw. That Raw sucked. Like I'm like, okay.
They did no favors that Triple H, I guess, allegedly before Raw started, said that tonight was going to be epic. And it was to a degree. I think you had some really great TV matches and then some solid segments, but nothing too epic.
No, I wouldn't say it's like it's a game changer epic sort of thing. Yeah, for sure. But
Logan and Ray, is that match happening, you think? We saw, I think, Ray
there
him.
was. Logan's kind of teasing. He's like, I want to retire you. Maybe it's a Saturday Night's Main Event. I don't know what was up with that match. I don't know. I didn't love it. We already got so much Ray Logan early in Logan's WWE career. I don't think we need it. I don't know if, I think people are talking about Ray versus Dom happening as a retirement match, but like, I also don't love talking about Ray retiring. I don't think we need to talk about Ray retiring until it's like, you know what I mean? I think we have another full 2026 with Ray. So we can circle back to...
I thought you were going to say a full 26 years with Ray. I'm like, hey, why not?
Stem cells, baby. Stem cells. But, okay, folks, that is the show. Please head over to patreon.com/Stache Club Wrestling for an entire bonus hour. We're going to be chit-chatting, talking random stuff. We have a ton of your questions on Patreon, so shout out everyone for leaving those. We're going to get to those in the bonus show. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate you being a listener. If you want to check out future episodes on Spotify, we're also over on there, but like, stay wherever you want. Plugs. I don't know, follow us on everything. You get it. All of our YouTube channels and social are in the description. With that said, Jimmy, I'll see you next week, and I'll see you all week on the channel. I'll see you in the Patreon.
Boom. Let's go. Stay curious.
What was your favorite wrestling moment during the month? I have two and I can't choose. Being there in person for John Cena winning the IC title in Boston, sitting fucking front row at AEW.
Oh, fuck.
Proud of you, Jimmy, for going to the gym consistently. I love seeing people stick to new schedules and see their lives improving. Hell yeah. Can I hit you with some really unfortunate news?
Yeah.
Some unfortunate breaking news?
Absolutely.
Men's Iron Survivor Challenge. Javon Evans versus Leon Slater versus Joe Hendry versus Dion Lennox versus Miles Bourne.